Welcome to Builder Buzz by Home Nation, where we bring in builders, developers, and everyday investors to talk about one of America's biggest opportunities, affordable housing. We'll talk about real costs, explosive growth, big mistakes, and tough lessons you won't learn anywhere else. Whether you're building homes, buying land, or just building big ideas, this podcast is for you.
Hi everybody, today I'm sitting down with Jeff Forrest with WPC, stands for Winter Park Construction. They're known in the Florida area for being a fantastic builder. This podcast is a ton of fun. Jeff is great to talk to. I feel like I could just talk to him for hours. There's a ton to learn from this. We go over everything from company culture to multifamily housing, just kind of cover a very broad spectrum. He's got a ton of stories. Tune into this, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, my name is Jeff Forrest. I am CEO of WPC. We're a Central Florida-based general contractor. The company's 50 years old. I've been here for 46 of those 56 years. So I'm considered one of the old guys in the group here. And we've got a great bunch of young people. But it's been a fun ride for the last 46 years. It's been a great story, both for myself and for the company.
Yeah, and you're based here in Florida. So it's been a pretty wild ride, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, your operations are solely in Florida?
So our ground up work is based in Florida. We try to stay within about 2.5 hours of Central Florida. So Jacksonville is not too far away for us. Certainly east and west, Daytona, Tampa, that kind of thing. Our renovations division in the hospitality market, all over the country. This group, we're in Nashville right now doing some work. We've been in Chicago, Wisconsin, Vegas, you name it. The renovation piece, the team travels well.
So would that be one of your bigger departments?
A great question, by the way, because one of the, we have been known in Central Florida as kind of a multi-unit builder. Early in the early days were a lot of hospitality work and timeshare because there was a lot of timeshare construction, hotels, et cetera. We got into the multifamily business. A lot of people know us today as a multifamily builder. It blew up, the market blew up, and then it literally blew up like it's non-existent. So, but renovation, especially in the hospitality business, especially in the timeshare, what I call vacation part business, is a great market for us, and we're looking to grow that even more.
Okay, so just bringing things up to making it look like 2025 modern. All throughout the United States. Might be,
and we just finished a wonderful project in a little area called Lake Nona here.
Yes,
for a company called Tavistock. It was so lots of products like Courtyards and Residence Inn, Marriott products have to bring up to brand standard. And maybe it's every 5 or 10 years they change their signage or their lobbies or their check-in spaces. And that's become a great business for us, where we can go into these projects and bring them up to brand standard.
Okay, and so housing, that's really what you're looking at. Anything to do with housing or vacations or what have you. It's not necessarily commercial.
Yeah, no, we do commercial work. I like to say when you're a contractor, you just think you can build anything. What we're really good at is multi-unit construction and multi-unit renovation. Okay. So that fits that category of hotels, timeshares, student housing, senior living, multifamily, and it has become our niche. It's what we've gotten really good at. A production-based companies where the building stays still and the people move. Whether it's renovation in hotel rooms, et cetera, or building an apartment building, we've gotten really good and efficient at doing it.
Wow. And you haven't even really found the need to go much out far. You said 2.5 hours from Central Florida.
Now, we've gone farther, but usually not as successful, because one of the reasons why we think we've maintained a good reputation of providing a quality product is that we have a lot of control mechanisms in place. So, you wake up in the morning, if you've got to drive 3 or 4 hours or hop on a plane, you tend not to put yourself in those positions as frequently. Where if you have to drive a couple of hours, myself included, or the executive team, it's much more, we're much more effective, much more able to get onto those jobs and make sure they live up to our expectations. Yeah.
So quality is big for you then.
It's a big deal. Reputation in the construction business is tough. So you got to do a good job. You got to get it done on time, and you got to be competitive. My brother used to have this saying, good, fast, cheap, pick two. We like to try to provide all of those if we can, but the reality is we've got to be competitive in the marketplace.
Yes.
And, when you are shutting down a hotel or a bank of rooms in a hotel, you've got to get them in and out. You got to get in and out, because That's revenue lost.
True.
So for us, it's about how do we put ourselves in a position to be efficient. And so quality is a big part of the equation. Certainly schedule is as well.
Yeah, that would be. So how many crews do you have then? How many employees?
So we're at 45 employees, and give or take about 15 of those would be based in our corporate office here in Central Florida. And then we have the balance kind of spread out on multiple jobs, whether it be ground up jobs or renovation projects.
So then how many of your employees are W-2 and you pay them to swing a hammer and you tell them when to clock in and clock out? And then how many are 1099 or, contracted? They install the windows, you handle the framing sort of thing.
So we are a management company in the sense that we have supervision, project management services, project executive services. All of our WPC staff members are employees. And then we go out in the market to electricians and plumbers and mechanical contractors and painters, et cetera. And all of those are vendors. So we don't self-perform anything. We just manage that group.
Wow. Now, but you have to really trust your vendors then. You have to trust those contractors.
No question about it. And so it's really very important that we vet those. Yeah. And it's also important that, we're using subcontractors and vendors that can finish the work, not just start the work. And we've got great relationships. When you're a company that's been around this long, you have an opportunity to develop relationships with wonderful companies in all of the areas of construction. So it's a key part of our business, no question about it. Yeah,
you said reputation is so important. And it really is for construction because it's not like some of these construction companies, they don't really have an online presence, and so, or they don't really focus on that online presence. It's not like you can look up pizza place near me and you see thousands of pizza places, right? You've got great contractors, but they're maybe not online in the way that we interact with the online world right now. And so reputation is so important. So then how do you vet those subs that you're using? Who does that? Is that a person? Do you give them a job to try it out? How do you make sure that they're going to be the quality that you need? Because you've got your own customers.
Yeah, so we have a qualification statement where a subcontractor has to fill that out. And you're looking for lots of things. One, you're looking for credibility in their work. And so who have they worked for before? How do we contact them and to make sure, much like hiring an employee, and you're getting their resume and you're seeing who they work for. So economics are really important. So vendors have to have stability. They have to have good bank accounts. They have to understand what it takes to manage cash flow. And so we go through that process with them. And, it is a lot of word of mouth. To your point, there are very few vendors that have a great online presence. I will say that it's improving, certainly as what I would consider the generational gap that occurs in our industry. I mean, the difference between you and I in age is fairly substantial. I'm 62. And so I grew up in a digital age, though, where we embrace that. And so one of the quick stories, this logo, this WPC, WPC.com is a 3-letter URL. Yeah, it's very difficult to find.
Yes, very.
We were the first general contractor in the United States to have a URL. The first general contractor in the U.S. back in 1989, 1990. My brother captured that. And so super cool. I actually own this URL and the logo myself personally and lease it back to the company and have been offered a lot of money.
You would have been,
for that. But the reality is the point of that is we started really early and when the opportunity presented itself, we have a team of people that help us with, our marketing and our online presence and, my son kind of heads that up right now. Not only as the president of the company, but he's handling our business development and our marketing.
Yeah, Jeffrey, but he probably doesn't go by Jeff.
Well, when you holler Jeff around here, there's 4 of us: my son, myself, and a couple of our employees. So we have to say it. So I have a grandson named Jeffrey too. So put us all in the same house and you call our name and everybody's turning. But it is Jeffrey or Junior, Jeffrey Junior. There you go. So lots of people and he grew up here. I mean, just like me, he grew up here. So many, many people in this company have known him since he was a pup. Yeah. And now that he runs a place, he's the boss. I might need to change my name to Jeffrey and he gets it. So.
There you go. That's so great. So it's a family run business. Was it your father who started it?
My brother started the company. 1974.
Okay.
And I went to work for him in 79, so I celebrated 46 years in June of this year.
Wow.
My dad did work at the company for a brief period of time. He was at Buena Vista Construction, which is how
I saw that with Disney.
Yeah, I was a California, or Disney brat, I guess you'd call it. Born and raised, or should say born in California, but raised here in Orlando under Disney World.
Yeah.
My dad retired from Buena Vista Construction. He came to work for us for a while before he retired as a carpenter, and he was a craftsman in the group. My brother was the entrepreneur. I got to learn from both my brother and my dad, and was very fortunate to have both of them to teach me how to do both bang nails pretty well and run a company pretty well.
Yeah, you have to know both, because you need to be able to identify that contractor doesn't know what they're doing, and unless you know what you're doing,
you have to be a good business person in this industry. There's no question about it. And I was very fortunate. My brother was a wonderful businessman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was my brother, and to be associated with that by itself is impressive. But the fact that he owned and ran multiple businesses is in a lifetime. Passed away 5 years ago in October.
Yeah, I read that. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries, man. I mean, that's a part of life. Father time wins every time. And so, and we were 13 years apart. And but he was a great role model, a great partner. We were partners for 17, 18 years as I became an owner of this company. And so I was very, very fortunate.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I work with my siblings as well. One of my siblings in sales, another one does our IT, our website, and some others throughout in different departments. So yeah, it's very valuable working with family because you can trust that person. They think like you. There's just so much synergy there. Not that you can't get that with just someone who's unrelated. You certainly can, but it's just like kind of
dynamic. Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic, no question about it. I'm really, my son and I are exceptionally fortunate in that we're so close.
Yeah.
I mean, a very rare relationship where father and son are as tight as we are, seeing each other every day, spending time, going on vacations together, playing golf together. I'm just this much better ahead of him. Golf, not a lot. He's catching me, but I get to play more often. He has to work harder now.
That's true. Now that he's running things, he's the president. No, that's still good. And I see that in my own father where he thinks, well, I think the way he thinks. And so when we sit in meetings together, I already know where he's going with something.
You're lined up.
Yeah. And it helps so much. And it is, not a lot of people have that. It's very, very valuable. And it's great for the company. When you have people on the same page with the same vision, you can really go places.
For sure. And, he's more analytical. I'm dyslexic, by the way. So I grew up with a different mindset of how you go through the world and how you see things. And he's very analytical. He's very much he's smarter than I am. I say that all the time, but I say that in the sense that he digs deeper into things than I ever did, which is fantastic when you're running a business.
Correct.
My other two partners, Sam, which is my son just turned 37. Sam's in that range.
Yeah.
And Sam's a construction guy. Sam's an operation guy. So Sam is a guy that's going to go out to the job site and make sure everything is built correctly. Jeffrey's going to be the one that sits here in the office and makes sure this business is run very well and has done an exceptional job. Both of them have done a wonderful job. And my partner, Kevin Corrado, who I've been fortunate enough to work with now for 30 years as my COO. Wow. That's kind of how we worked. Even though I knew construction very well, Kevin was the guy out there kind of making sure they did a great job.
So then where did you fit into the picture? More of the visionary?
Well, when I got into an executive role, probably mid-90s, I started to think slightly different. My brother and I had two different worldviews of things. I was a communicator. I was the guy that was going to go out and, sell ice cubes to Eskimos. And I was also a kind of a branding guy, marketing guy. Loved that process of communicating what this logo meant and protecting it and making sure we put it on the right things. And so when it came to vision, it was really about what the company looked like to the external world, combined with creating a culture internally where people wanted to come to work. The hardest thing to do is get people to come to work and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
We've been so fortunate to have people that have worked here for 20, 25, 30, 35 years.
Yeah.
I celebrated 46. We have one employee here, Larry, who celebrates 47 years this year.
No.
So we're right there.
Wow.
Tagging team. So that metric of success where people want to stick around has a lot to do with the culture.
That's
amazing. Not a perfect company, you're not a perfect business, but the reality is we work really, really hard so that people enjoy having to come to work in a very difficult business. And so I think where I added value the most in those days was focusing my energy on what are we going to look like? How are we going to be presented? And then how do we make sure people enjoy coming to work?
Because I noticed on your website, it talks so much about the quality of the workplace and your employees enjoying work. And you have some programs even that I thought were really interesting. Programs for losing weight, for quitting smoking, getting people into the gym. And so having people for decades and decades and decades, how do you do that? There's so much value in having someone for years and years and the relationships that develop. What are you focusing on to establish that? Because I can't imagine just a couple programs or what did it.
No, I mean, it's a lot of things. I mean, I love having fun doing stuff. The one thing that I think people will remember me for is the idea that, I'll surprise people and I'll look for volunteers to go do a project and then we'll load up on a bus and we'll go to Universal and we'll go hang out. Right. And so, the idea that you create an environment where people are engaged. There's a lot of golf around here. We've got a putting green in our corporate office here. Yeah. You mentioned the health component, and one of the best ways to have a long-term company is have healthy people. And no better way to set an example than myself. Right before I turned 60 years old, I made a list of the 10 things I wanted to do when I was 100. And then I went out trying to find people to help me do those 10 things. And I say that because creating a healthy environment in the workplace creates great mental health, great physical health. People want to go to work every day. And so, part of it is setting a good example. And, I'm a prankster. I have a good time. I can walk around this office at different times and scare a few of the employees on a pretty regular basis. But the reality is, it's a combination of things. It is lots of little things that come together, and people just appreciate the fact I come in this office every day, whenever it is, and I walk around to every single desk and say hi to everybody that's here. Part of that is just to get a gauge of how they're feeling, seeing how they're doing. Yep. Get a little, I never accept a fine as a good answer. Somebody tells me they're fine, I'm digging in, right? I'm going to find out what's going on. But the reality is I'm just looking to make sure that they're enjoying themselves, that they got everything they need to do their jobs. And, seeing how the kids are, or the grandkids, or whatever the case might be. Yeah.
You learn so much just by walking around and listening and observing. Fantastic. You learn so much about the person, about processes going on, what's going well and what isn't. You learn so much simply by walking around.
Yeah. Right on, man.
So when did you start to identify the value of culture? Was that something you understood right away?
Well, I think it came from a lot of different interactions that I had with various people. We live in the hospitality capital of the world. We've got Disney, we've got SeaWorld, we've got Universal. And I not only knew people that worked at those places, I got to understand the importance of that employee experience. Yeah. And so it was very early in my career, especially in my management and executive side, where I realized that importance. Now, executing that 100% of the time is the challenge, but understanding it and making sure that you have to do it. It was probably mid-90s when I knew the importance of those things and creating an experience, not only upstream, right, to our clients. We want to make sure that they have a great experience. We like to sell that as our strategic advantage. But you've got to go downstream to your vendors, and you've got to be internal. And so creating an experience for people, I think one that's positive, that shows you're a good human. Yeah. It puts you in a position where they're going to remember you, not just for the work product, but for who you are, has always been really, really important. So I'll say about half my life I've spent trying to do that.
That's very difficult to maintain as you grow.
It is.
And you're at personally, we're a similar amount of employees, and I just don't see that I can have the level of involvement with the employees that I'd like to if we continue to bring more on.
It's challenging. I mean, at one point we had 165 people, a peak of the, right before, probably in 2009. Yeah. 2008, right before that kind of experience that we all had. Yeah. And, you can do it. I can say that you can do it. Is it more challenging? Does it put more does it take more time, more effort? There's no question about it. but it's about creating various experiences, whether it be, in our case, our town hall meetings or our holiday parties or our picnics. And, and then it's about making sure that you're genuine with people. And I think it permeates. So the people that I was responsible for, I modeled what I expected them to do when it came to the employees.
Yes.
And so maybe I wasn't the one in contact with every employee, but there were enough people that understood what we were trying to accomplish and the importance of that relationship. And so the more people you have, the more people that required to make sure that they drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So like my own shortcoming is that I don't need a lot of affirmation, a lot of depth of relationship, so to speak. Like, you give me the task, I'll get that done, I'll figure it out, I'll find the people, whatever. And so my own shortcoming is that I won't recognize when maybe an employee needs that. They need affirmation. They need just to know that you're there and you see them. Like, there are some employees who have told me, like, I need more of that from you. And I found that my own shortcoming is I don't feel I need it, so I don't think other people need it.
Fair enough. But I think what happens as you grow in various positions in a company, and I'm this way. Listen, when I first started in this company, first of all, I thought I knew everything and I knew nothing. And, I thought, well, I'm going to come in, I'm going to change the world. Yeah. And, I think what you think when you're younger is it's big things. And what happens as you progress is that you realize, much like building a building, you start with the foundation, you add the slabs, you add the walls, you add the roof, And to use that analogy, it really is about building that relationship. Yeah. And doing the littlest of things that you can that's important to that person. Yeah. Finding just a little gem about what might be important to them, and then making sure that you check in on a regular basis. I think it grows. I think, and plus, as you progress through the company, depending on what your responsibilities are, you shed responsibilities and you add responsibilities. Yes. I think if you get into this role that I'm in now, which is more of a kind of advisor to the younger group, my son included, I have more time to do that. And
exactly. Yes.
And I think you'll get there. You're a young man that's growing, and your company's growing. You got all this stuff going on, and eventually you find yourself in a role where you get to focus on what you're really good at. Yes. What I'm good at is creating that connection.
That's good.
That could be a connection with a client. Could be a connection with a friend or a family member or an employee.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see that where it's difficult right now. I have a lot going on, and I'll have to tell people, like, I want to give you more time. I just can't right now. I simply don't have the time. I need to move on to what I have next. And it's like, it hurts me a little bit inside, and it's not like terrible or anything, because people understand, but I want to be able to give time to people in the way that I know I should, and in the way that some of them really need. It's just one of the growing pains sort of things that
you got to carve that time out. One of the things you could do is just give say 15 minutes a day. I'm going to take a moment. So I again, it's much easier with 45 employees than it was with 165 employees. Yeah. But my wonderful assistant Logan, will give me, every single time somebody has a birthday or an anniversary, I get an email or a text and say, you know what, it's Rex's 30th anniversary. Yeah. And I know that I'm going to make sure on that day that I connect with him in person or on the phone or however I can. So you kind of figure out ways of capturing moments, which is all you need to do during the day or the week, where you carve that out, right? You still got to do all that stuff. The important stuff is running your business and all the urgent things. But I got to tell you, you take 10 minutes a day and you make a list of people you're going to connect with. You'd be amazed what you accomplish.
Man, that's convicting. You've really convicted me on that, Jeff, because I definitely lack that. And I said it at the beginning of the call. You'd be amazed at what you learn just by walking around.
Right on, brother.
And that's just that's it right there. Just talking to people. Wow, that's fantastic. So you said things kind of, the multifamily housing blew up, and then it kind of blew up. Do you still do multifamily housing?
Yeah, we do. One of the things that there's a handful of really good general contractors here in Central Florida that are known for multifamily, specifically stick-built. A lot of contractors don't like to touch wood, and so we're one of those that have made enough mistakes that we're pretty good at it now. Yeah. And so we don't go out and market ourselves as a multifamily builder. because our phone's going to ring when that happens. So, when every project was a multifamily project and we had 6 or 8 of them coming out of the ground at any given time, there was a lot going on and we were all over the place. Architects knew us, clients knew us, et cetera. What happens is, as the market turned for lots of reasons, all of the things that people talk about, economics and otherwise, we're still known as a multifamily builder. And from time to time, we don't have to go out and chase a project because architects and clients know who we are. Our phone will ring as that product type starts to come back, probably 6, 8, 12 months from now. And so what we want to do is we want to focus our efforts on markets where we're not as known, and small special projects, renovation projects. So in lieu of doing, 8 big projects, we're going to do 50 smaller projects. Better margins, by the way. A whole lot less risk. You go out and build a $60 million apartment project. Your fee is going to be fixed for a certain period of time, and you're tied to that job forever. These smaller renovations, these smaller commercial, smaller special projects that we do have a little less liability, contingent liability, and we sleep better at night. So we are known as a multifamily. I was at an open house for an architect, and they go, "Oh yeah, I know you guys are all over the place building multifamily deals." Of course, that was 2 years ago. That's what they remember. But the reality is, we need people to know us as a good builder and a good renovator.
In general,
in general.
Yeah, that's good. I've noticed, so 520 and 528, the roads that kind of connect Orlando with the East Coast, Cocoa Beach and what have you. There's 524 goes in between both of those. And just apartment complexes going up like crazy.
Everywhere.
As soon as before they finish one, they have another one going up and they're clearing land for another. It's just, and I always wondered who's behind these things. Like
we lived in that world, man, where we were breaking ground on an apartment project every 2 months. And demand is high. There is still an abundance of people either moving here from different parts of the world, changing from owner to rent environments. You pick it. There's a reason why all these multifamily deals are being built, because there is demand. The challenge that we face today, aside from the economics of building them, the cost of building them, interest rates and construction, et cetera, is that rents are they're a little bit lower now than they were, probably a lot lower now than they were, 2-3 years ago. That's the indicator, is as rents start to creep up a little bit, because all these multifamily deals are being occupied at that 95 to 98% rate. You'll start to see the next wave of apartments in all of the places that you'll end up seeing.
Now curious, because you're local to the area, do you know Vieira, south of Cocoa? It's a kind of a master plan community.
I built senior living there. I built multifamily there. I've been there.
I was curious, because you've been around here for a long time, and they're from Eastern Europe, I believe. The person that owned all the property, and Duda Saad owns it, and then I guess they sell some of it to builders. I don't know the relationship. But just curious on your involvement, what you've built there, and how you've seen that change, because it's just exploding. Talk about apartment complexes going up, new houses going up, these townhouses going up, just commercial buildings going up everywhere. It just constantly they're building there.
And, Vieira would have been considered 5 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer, what we would consider like a sub-market. It's the in-between space where the roadways are there, right? But they need to build some off-ramps, and the moment they build the off-ramps, they'll start to bring in all the other stuff.
Literally.
And so, the reason why we end up in most places is because of our reputation, and a client will bring us there. And in the case of Vieira, we had a long-term multifamily client that we'd worked with for 20 years, and they developed a project there and asked us to be their contractor, which we did. The senior living project we did was the same. We were building for a senior living developer here in Central Florida. And they said, "Hey, we're getting ready to break ground in Vieira. Do you want to go?" And we said, "Absolutely." Vieira is one of those locations where it's an hour away from us. Not that bad. We've worked in Melbourne, by the way. I built a multifamily deal in downtown Melbourne for a wonderful client there. These areas, what we see is the corridor between Orlando and Tampa. Lakeland, you name it. That's all there's still plenty of land there to do development, and we'll see that kind of come together. And there's other areas in Florida. There's so much land in Florida.
Yeah, so much going on.
The question is it buildable and is it affordable? Right?
Yeah. So we were, I've sold a number of mobile homes to this local developer, and he would just, build them and sell them, put them on a property and sell them. And we give him a great price, and he loved it. He also, what he would do is he would find properties that were buildable, right? For commercial, for multifamily, like apartments. And he was doing the engineering for it and like getting all the approvals. And I think even maybe getting the permit. I don't quite remember exactly. Then he would sell that to a builder. Is that kind of how the process works? Does that sound familiar?
There's lots of ways for this to occur. More often than not, people like the one that you mentioned are getting their properties entitled for a specific use.
Yeah.
And we'll use multifamily as an example. They've got 10 or 14 acres and they want to build 300 units. They get all of that approved through the jurisdictions. And then the multifamily developers will come in and they'll go, oh, well, that project's we've already saved a year and a half of our time. We can go and we can design and build. So that's maybe 50% of the projects are like that. The other 50 are developers going in and finding raw land and doing the entitlement process. And, getting projects entitled to build whatever the use is that people want to build. It's a lot of work these days. I mean, it really is. Jurisdictions have different requirements.
Yeah.
Depending on where you go, it takes a couple of years to do that.
I bet you've seen some serious change in your 46 years. I bet you've seen some serious change in those types of requirements.
Well, I can tell you from a jurisdictional standpoint, inspection standpoint, building department standpoint, you name it. In 46 years, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
There was a time early in my brother's career. This is a great little tangent story when we talk about building departments. But there'd be public projects, right? That would be for various cities. My brother would go to the building departments, and back then it was a printed set of drawings, and that's how you bid the job. He would go look for the projects that nobody could read the drawings. They were poorly drawn, or they were whatever it was, and nobody could read them. And that's the project he would bid, because in his mind, he felt like other contractors are going to look at those drawings and go, I can't read this. I'm going to go to the next job, something I could do. And my brother's mentality was, let's find projects where people can't understand, and then bid them at some outrageous number and get them.
Yeah.
But back to your point, the world has changed. I mean, I've gone through 4 cycles in my career, economic cycles.
Yes.
As the world has turned, and I kind of hope I don't have another one. I got about 4 or 5 years left of being here every day, but the technology in the world has changed for contractors. You are faced with kind of the lowest common denominator when it comes to dealing with vendors. That not all of them are as technically proficient, but the world is starting to catch up. We're starting to see more technology in the industry and manufacturing. We have drywall companies now that, as they do a takeoff in the unit, they're pre-cutting all their either metal studs or wood. They're pre-cutting all the drywall, and they're packaging all those up and placing them so you have less waste. You have you're quicker. You're starting to see AI creep into the scheduling world. Certainly creep into accounting, our accounting department, for purposes of invoice approvals, et cetera. So I've seen a lot in 46 years. The one thing that doesn't change is it requires good people to build stuff.
Yeah, it does.
End of story. No question about it.
Yeah.
You got to have the right people. And I've been so blessed in all this time I've been here to have crossed paths with some wonderful humans that are much smarter than I am at building things. Probably forgot more than I'll ever know. Superintendents and project managers. And the company today, the industry as a whole was an older industry in the sense that, 10, 15 years ago, my superintendent, we were probably 55 plus, half the company. Today, it's 35 and under, right?
Wow.
We got a bunch of people my age floating around, but the reality is my son's 37. We have a project engineer sitting here that's 23 years old.
Well,
you can walk around this company and you see a lot of good youth and a lot of good energy.
That's so valuable.
Yeah, it's the way companies should grow.
Yes,
and that's organically, growing people internally.
Yeah. Well, that's really good, Jeff. I'll leave it at that because that's just fantastic. I feel like I could talk to you for hours.
Lots to talk about, man. It's a big industry, and I appreciate you taking the time to dig in a little bit. You know, it's always fun to come on and tell a little bit of the story.
Yeah, absolutely, man. WPC in Orlando and surrounding areas is so good. Absolutely love it. Love the story behind the URL. Love the story behind the company. It sounds like a really fantastic place to work, and I'm sure that your product speaks for itself.
You know, that you mentioned earlier, we try to put ourselves in the best places to work categories across the spectrum, and you know, all the building stuff happens. If you got the right people, you get a good environment, people will do a good job.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Awesome, man. For sure. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. Bye-bye.